Hello, this is Andrine, a Jewish American priestess, and I'm coming to you today from my sukkah. So it is the holiday of Sukkot, which is the full moon of the month of Tishrei, which happens just after Yom Kippur, and which happens after Rosh Hashanah. And we build a sukkah, which is basically a fort in the yard, and for 7 days we eat out here. And so here's my beautiful sukkah, and we are out here today. I just had my coffee out here, and we're going to do a Hebrew reading, and we're going to do it about the harvest. So the harvest is the time of year where we do Sukkot. We also shake the lulav and etrog, and I'll show you those. So the lulav is a bundle of 3 different species, and traditionally it's a palm frond and a willow branch and some myrtle branches, some willow branches and some myrtle branches. And I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I don't have palms here, but I do have cedar. So what I did is I made a native lulav, which is made out of a cedar branch. I have 3 different species of willow, which is the Sitka willow, the Pacific willow, and the Scowler's willow. And then we have a native myrtle called the wax myrtle here. And we bind them together into a large kind of lulav, it's what it's called. And I bound it together with blue cord and tied it like a tzitzit, which I like. And then the etrog, which is traditionally a citron or a lemon. We don't have those here, so I'm using a pear. And this pear is from a winter pear from the tree next door. And so it's kind of roughly the same shape and same color as an etrog, and each of these represent a different part of the body. The cedar, in my case, represents the spine. The willows represent the mouth, and the myrtles represent the eye. The etrog, the pear, represents the heart or the womb, and to that effect, it is taking the divine masculine and the divine feminine and bringing them together. And then we shake them in each of the 6 directions. East, which represents air. South, which represents fire. West, which represents water. North, which represents earth. Up to the sky or the heavens, and down to the earth. So, and that ritual, which seems to be very, very ancient, much more ancient than Judaism, is to bring about the rain at this time of year in the northern hemisphere. So we're here at this time of harvest, where we're out in the sukkah, and we're going to do a reading about harvest today. And I'm going to use the Wildwood Tarot cards, some Nordic runes, as well as Hebrunes today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to set everything off to the side to start, and we're going to take out the Wildwood Tarot cards and give it a shuffle. I think I'm just going to do 2 today, because I want to make sure I give each reading its due. But we're going to talk about what are we harvesting right now in our lives. What is it we've planted and nurtured all year long, and things are coming to harvest right now. So we'll pull out 2 cards to see if any 2 come out. There was 1, and the second, this one. Okay, I'm going to flip those over and see what will draw you into your reading. So, for those of you who want to choose this card, we have the 6 of Bows, Abundance. That's wonderful. That's traditionally the 6 of Wands in Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. The 6 of Bows in this case, abundance. And that's what your card looks like if you want to choose this one. It's perfect for harvest time. And the second card to choose from is the Wheel. Oh, very nice. So that's the Wheel. That's the Major Arcana. It's the Wheel of Fortune. So both really harvest type cards today. So take a moment to discern which of these cards is calling to you today. Either the 6 of Bows with its fiery campfire or the wheel with its harvest as well. Take a moment to discern which one you'd like, and I will put the timestamps below. And then we'll be pulling out some Hebrunes and some Nordic runes, and we'll do a reading about your harvest. I'll see you there. Hello, card number 1. Those of you who chose the Six of Bows, Abundance. This is, again, a beautiful card for harvest, because you can see right here, it's got baskets and bushels of harvest here. You've got mushrooms and fruit, pears. Pears are up today. Nuts, and some other kind of apple perhaps there. So a bunch of different kinds of harvest, as well as this fire, which is burning and the smoke is rising to the heavens. And this really gnarly old tree, which seems to be carrying its own kind of wisdom with it. So whatever you've got harvesting, it's abundant and it is victorious. The Six of Wands, Six of Bows, speaks to the idea of really having succeeded. It's victory, having gone out and come back victorious. So congratulations, Mazel Tov to you in this harvest time. And we're going to set that card right in the center here. And the way I'm going to do this today is I'm going to pull out 3 Hebrunes as well as 3 Nordic runes, and then we're going to just see how they play out here in terms of this reading for you. So let's start with the Hebrunes. I shuffle them up, and we're using the Bradford pear Hebrunes today too, so pears are everywhere. Let's shuffle them up and see who wants to come out. So at the top we have the letter Ayin. In the center we have the letter Chet. And at the bottom we have the letter Lamed. Very nice. And I'm going to pull out the Nordic runes as well at the same time here, just so that we have them all down, and then we can take a look at the whole picture. So for the Nordic runes, at the top we have the letter Sowilo. In the center we have the letter Tewaz. And at the bottom we have the letter Degas. Nice. Okay. So the way we do the 3 Hebrune spread is at the top, it's about our current situation. In the center is the fear or challenge, and the third is the outcome given the current circumstances. And at the top of our Hebrune reading, we have the letter Ayin. Now, Ayin is the letter that means an eye. It's the letter that represents either being able to see clearly, having clear vision, or the divine's watching over one. So here we have this being watched over and being able to see our way forward clearly. And this is beautiful with regards to the Six of Bows, because you have clearly found your way through your harvest and found yourself victorious in whatever it is, and you've come together back to your campfire to celebrate the harvest. The Ayin is also the number 70 in Gematria, so to that end it speaks to something coming to an end, a very profitable and fruitful end, because it is the number 7, which is the number of days of creation, times 10, which says it's an ultimate manifestation of that finish. And it's like a completion that's just really successful. It's so perfect for this card. So we have where our current situation is, we are seeing our way forward, we're being watched over by the divine, and something has come to a beautiful completion with much harvest. So that's perfect for what's happening right now. Whatever it is you've planted and nourished has come to this beautiful harvest time. On the runes side, we have the letter Sowilo. Sowilo is the sun. It is the letter that represents the sun bursting forth in the sky. It's source energy. So it really is similarly about being watched over by the divine, by having that source within you, that power where you find that that sunshine that is giving you life. And that's our current situation. We've got the summer coming to an end in the northern hemisphere, but that sun is out right now, and it's still providing an ability for the fruit to ripen on the vine. So Sowilo is our current situation on the Nordic rune side. On the center portion, on the Hebrew side, we have the letter Chet, and like I said, this is the fear or challenge in our situation. The letter Chet is the number 8, so it's about eternity. So maybe there's some fear or concern about the eternal, something, having difficulty connecting with whatever is eternal. It's the first letter of the word Chai, which means life. So maybe there's something up with life, but also you can see it's a little bit rigid and stringent. There's something about contracts and covenants that are set in stone here with the Chet. And it looks a little bit like a marriage canopy, so maybe there is some challenges around a contract or a commitment that you maybe have made in the past that you're struggling with right now. And again, that idea of the infinite, which is sometimes really hard to wrestle with, especially after having come to a completion. What happens next? What now? I think that's what it comes to. When we come to a harvest, sometimes it's difficult to discern, well, now what? And that's what strikes me as the issue here for you, is you've got this beautiful harvest that's come in, and there's been huge amounts of success, but you don't know what's coming next, and that's sometimes really challenging. The Chet is also the first letter of the word Choshek, which means darkness. And as we come to the end of our summer season here in the northern hemisphere, these days are getting shorter. So there is a difficulty with what do we do next, and what happens when it gets dark? Are we able to maintain that fire? Will our harvest last through the season? And I see this as more of a fear than an actual challenge, but there is some concern on your part about whether there will be enough and whether you will have the ability to do the next thing, whatever it might be. And that's what I'm seeing right now as the challenge. On the Nordic rune side, we have the letter Tewaz, and Tewaz it's related to the Nordic god Tu, or Tyr, who is the god of war. So it has to do with, again, interestingly, contracts and duties and doing the right thing and having some sort of, well, sometimes it's about war, but I think of it more in terms of duty. Tyr was the sky god, and he was the one who sacrificed his hand to the wolf in order to delay the war. There is this idea of sacrificing yourself, maybe doing too much, or being bound to duty, being bound to some kind of contract or commitment that may be of a challenge, or maybe fear that you're afraid that if you don't do the right thing, that things will not turn out exactly as you would like, but you're afraid to do what you want to do. You want to do what's right by your family or by the societal rules. So having come back from your victory, it is a challenge to discern what is the right thing to do right now in your situation. Are you duty bound to justice that is in conflict with your celebration? But don't worry about that right now. That's not what's up right now. What's up right now is the harvest and the celebration and the source energy. So let's leave our fears and our concerns about the future and the eternal for later, is what we're going to run into here. And on the right side, with our outcome of a situation, we have the letter Lamed. Lamed here, which is the one letter that reaches above the line in Hebrew. And it's about reaching up for connection with the divine. and heart. It's the first letter of the word lev, which means heart mind. And so it's about aspiration or teaching and learning as well, the foundation of action, elevating one's heart toward the divine, teaching what one has learned, and finding hope in the next thing. So our outcome here, given the current circumstances, is this aspiration that right now we might be concerned about the contracts, or concerned about our commitments, or concerned about the darkness that's coming. But I think connecting with the divine is going to be the thing that gets us through the situation, that elevation of the smoke. It actually almost looks a little bit like a lamed, the way it's winding up through the tree there. So that tuning into your heart, tuning into what really draws you forward toward connection with something greater than yourself is the way to go here. And on the Nordic rune side, we have the letter Dagaz. I don't know if you can see that here. Dagaz is about the breaking of the day. It's about revelation and being able to see your way forward again. So bringing us both back up to the sun and up to the Ayin. So this breakthrough that will happen in the near future, or the thing that will help you to see your way through whatever duty-bound justice you feel here. So Dagaz is that opening and that breaking through. And so it's really, and I love that we've got fire here in the center, and we've got both the sun and the dawn here on this side, and vision on this side, darkness and contracts, more contracts in the fear position on both sides, and this idea of aspiration or connection with divinity that will get you through whatever situation you're in. And so for those of you who chose the Six of Bows and this concept of abundance, beautiful reading for you. You do have abundance coming in enormous amounts. You've got that 70, which says an ultimate completion, which is hugely victorious, and the sun, which is just like the yes. Everything has been so bright and beautiful right now. So just really embrace that time. Don't worry so much about the contracts. Don't worry so much about the darkness and the commitment. But do connect with heart, and do look for that breakthrough that will give you the ability to see your way forward into the next thing. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you here next time, and have a beautiful, beautiful Sukkot. Hello, welcome for those of you who chose the wheel today as your card of harvest. This is an amazing card to choose for that. I'm just astonished at both cards coming out being so abundant. So the wheel of fortune, right? So we've got this idea of the wheel turning, that great things are happening, that there is great abundance coming in. We have both the sun and the moon in this card, as well as this loom with a cloth with wheels on it. I see feathers coming out of the armholes here, stones. There are 3 storks in the background here, all about fertility, abundance, and change, right? The sun to the moon. Right now, the summer to fall to winter, and just back to spring again. So the wheels are turning. So we've got this beautiful card talking about all the different transformations that are taking place right now for you in the cycle of the year, and that harvest time where we bring in that abundance to enjoy and come together to celebrate. And then it will turn again like wheels do. But a beautiful card for this reading about abundance and harvest. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to lay down 3 Hebrunes on the right side and 3 Nordic runes on the left side, and then we'll read to see how this goes. The top letter is the letter that represents our current situation. The center will be the challenge or fear, and the lower is the advice and or outcome of our situation. So let's start. We've got the Bradford pair Hebrunes today. We've got a lot of pairs coming up today. And let's just pull out 3 here. At the top we have the letter Yud. In the center, I have the letter Vav. Nice. And on the bottom, we have the letter Aleph. Very nice. Okay, let's do our Nordic runes also. On the top, we have the blank, which is called Weird. In the center, we have the letter Fehu. And on the bottom, we have the Hagalaz. Wow. Okay, wow, what a fascinating reading. Okay, let's take a look. So on the right side with the top, the Hebrunes, interestingly, the wheel is number 10 in this deck. And we've pulled out the letter, which is number 10 in Hebrew. So 10 is this magical completion number as well. In tarot cards, the 10 is often the completion of a thing. It's the ace through 9, and then you get 10, and then you go into the court cards. The 10 in Hebrew is the letter Yud, and the letter Yud is the first letter of the divine name. And it also represents that one point of focus, the one point out of which the entire universe was exploded. It is said that the divine contracted themselves down to one point when they were creating the universe in order to make space for creation to happen. And this is that one point. And then that explosion happened and the rest of the universe came into being. So with the Yud, we have this concept of divinity, concentrated divinity, down into this very, very small point. And it is also the first letter of the four-letter tetragrammaton, the name of the divine, the Yud, He, Vav, He. The Yud, He, Vav, He is a compilation of all past, present, and future verbs to be. So it's about becoming. It's this idea of becoming. And so this is this one point, the seed, sort of an atom that is the building block of the entire universe. So it's seed, but we're at a time of harvest right now. So this is really interesting. What you're harvesting right now is seeds. You're harvesting seeds. You're bringing in fruit, but those seeds are going to be the thing that gets you through to the next iteration. We've got this building block that we're doing right now. We're contracting things. We're bringing things together into oneness so that we'll have not just oneness, but 1 times 10ness. So a really, really big harvest of seeds is what I'm seeing here. And that's just gorgeous here with the wheel. And on the left side, we have the blank, which is known as weird. Weird is the ancient term for fate. So it's like the idea of the infinite. So it's like that blank space that is left when the contraction happens. It brings us down to this sort of emptiness, but it's not just emptiness, it's a fulfillment of all things. Sort of, it's in Hebrew, I think of it as the Ein Sof, which is that without end, that is the substrate that existed before any letters were carved at all, and the first letter was the point, that Yud. So on the left side, interestingly, we have that infinite, that eternal idea. And for a harvest, it seems weird that there'd be this blankness. I see you use the word weird again. There'd be this blankness, but it's like the empty basket. It's like the earth itself into which one plants the seeds. So even though we're at a harvest time, I love that we've got the seed and the earth, basically the substrate onto which we plant things, right at the top. This is what's happening. We're gathering seeds and we're preparing soil for something new coming in as that wheel turns. So gorgeous. And also, when I look at the weird, it reminds me of the full moon that just happened. So we just went into the full moon of Aries in this month, the Sukkot moon, the harvest moon. And we've got this big moon up in the sky here, right here in the wheel, as the wheel turns on the moon side of the card as well. On the right side, in the center, we have the letter Vav. Now, Vav is the letter that in Hebrew literally means and it's in this position of what's our fear or challenge. And So Vav is all about connection. There may be some challenges around connecting right now. There may be some fear around finding connection with another person, maybe with the divine, or with the earth itself. There's this, I think of Vav as being sort of like after you've planted the seed of the Yud, this is the sprout that comes up and reaches toward the sky. So it's like this root that's going into the earth, but you can see the little Yud at the top there. So there may be some challenges with that idea of connection, that idea of really reaching up for connection with another or with the divine itself. It has this idea of the 6 days. It's the number 6 in Gematria, so the 6 days of creation, the 6 days of active creation, but also the 6 directions. And right now, during Sukkot, we shake the lulav in all 6 directions. And so, and it looks a little bit like a lulav. You can see it's got that shape of the branches bundled together. It's also sort of a phallic shape. So seed and phallus. So there may be some connection issues coming up for you, fear or challenges with connecting to another, with having to do with creation, having to do with connecting to all the different disparate parts, all the different directions, the north, south, east, west, up and down. It is the letter that I see as connecting to the Lover's card in tarot. So maybe some issues with romance or something, again, about connecting to yourself even right now at this time of year, as we're trying to figure out what to do with the seeds that we are gathering. So that's our challenge right now. On the Nordic rune side, we have the letter Fehu. And Fehu is the letter that means cattle and wealth. So it is about things that you tend. It's about wealth and worth. And so having to do with harvest, really interesting, because we have a blank up here. We have an empty basket maybe. What is our value? What is our worth here? What is this success that we were talking about? Where's the abundance that we've been promised at this time of year? Where's the happiness? Where's the financial gain? Where are the cattle? Have we tended them properly? And I see this in this position because we've got the blank up above, and so we're wondering what's happening. Is the wheel turning in a way that isn't working for us? Is there some kind of issue? Have we lost sight of what's valuable to us? Is it just material wealth, or is there something deeper? Is there something in that emptiness going into that space where we are right now of holding space that we can find value in? And maybe the challenge is really looking for the value in the thing that seems to be nothing. It seems to be nothing, but I'm seeing on the right side there's all kinds of abundance. So I think both things are true, that it may appear outwardly to be empty, but we have to spend time finding the value, finding the wealth in what appears to be empty, maybe to ourselves or to another. On the right side, in our outcome position, we have the letter Aleph, and the letter Aleph is the number 1. It is the first letter of the alphabet, and you can see, if you look at it, that it's made up of 2 Yuds and a Vav. So it's like both of these things coming together. The Aleph is the number 1, and it corresponds to the oneness of the divine. It's the mother letter of air. So it's about breath. It's about finding your place in the breath of life, about connecting with the divine and the breath that is given to you by divinity. It's about above and below, connecting the divine above with the divine below, with that Vav between, both connecting and separating. There is a certain amount of separateness that comes with the Aleph as well, because it's not set apart like an X. You have to make a decision when you get to the crossroads, which direction are you going to go? But it is about connecting divinity above and divinity below, and finding your way to the right path. So when we come to the outcome here of seeds and concern about connection, how do we connect the divine above and the divine below? How do we find our place in the one? How do we find our place in the one? And I think that's also the advice. Take time to breathe. Take time to discover your place in the middle here, in the connection between above and below, and really focus on the oneness, the multiplicity and the unity of all things in the divine, because there are multiple facets of divinity in the world and only one divine, that there are trillions of cells in your body but only one body, there are trillions of stars in the universe but only one universe. So how do we reconcile that paradox? Well, we take our time to breathe. We take our time to focus on oneness and come to terms with that by breathing in those particles and breathing them out again. So when we take it into our body, it becomes us. And when we exhale it, it becomes everything else. So really focus on breath here. And on the left side, you'll see we have Hagalas. And interestingly, look how similar these two are. This is fascinating to me. They're really different letters. They mean really different things, but they look so much alike that it's not like they mean anything different at all. Hagalas is the hailstorm. It is the wildness of nature. So fascinatingly, it's got that same shape. And it's about natural forces taking over. And so in some ways, it is about the oneness. It's about the oneness of the divine. It's about how nature is the ultimate master of us. We don't get to choose how things are going to turn out. And if we can tap into our wildness, if we can tap into that part of ourselves, which is in some level chaotic, but just follows its heart, follows the natural course of things, then we're going to be okay in the storm. If we can become the storm, we'll be okay within the storm. That's what I think about here in terms of Hagalas and the Aleph being opposite each other. I love this when this happens, and it's happened quite a bit in the readings that I bring out both sets. So it's about hailstones and storms and disruption and change and chaos, but on the big picture, it is nature, and Aleph is nature. It's that, how do we find our place in the storm? How do we embrace the storm as the wheel changes, as the seasons turn? So those of you who chose the wheel here, we've got the number 10, we've got the number 10, we've got the 6, which is the 6 directions. We've got the Aleph, which is oneness again. The blank, which is weird and fate and fortune in the center, which we're questioning right now. What is the fortune? What is the wealth? And chaos is the outcome. Chaos in a great way. Chaos into embracing our own chaos as the wheel turns. Once we get on the wheel, rather than trying to stop it, we're going to find peace with that. We're going to find the oneness. We're going to find our wholeness here within nature, within the turning of all things. And I love this at this time of year. And I appreciate you coming along for the ride. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I look forward to seeing you here next time. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.